MMA Fighting presents Timeline, Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington. August 23rd, 2014, UFC Fight Night 48, BISPING versus Lee, Macau, China. The 5-0 Colby Covington makes his UFC debut against Anying Wang. Covington wins by first-round stoppage. Covington would return to the cage in November and defeat Wagner Silva by third-round submission at UFC Fight Night 56, Shogun vs. St. Preux in Uberlândia, Brazil. May 23, 2015, UFC 187, Johnson vs. Cormier. Colby Covington enters the UFC cage for the third time against veteran Mike Pyle. Covington wins by decision.
Definitely. I didn't do any hard sparring for this camp. You know, I just worked with my buddy Jorge Masvidal. Can't thank him enough for what he did for me. We just did light sparring the whole camp. You know, it's not like you're just gonna go balls to the wall to get ready, because I don't want to get hurt. You know, my last fight I was hurt. I broke my foot, you know, before the fight. So I just wanted to be healthy and come into the fight, you know. Before I took the fight, you know, I wasn't really training hard. I was just kind of sitting around, doing a little boxing, doing a little strength and conditioning. But, you know, I didn't want to break anything down and try and rebuild back up. I was just slowly you know, pacing myself and building up little by little. I'm not going to tell you I want to take who I give you. I don't know who's in the rankings, but I want someone in the top 15. Honestly, I'm being honest. Like, I train with the best guys in the world. I train with Woodley. I train with Law. I know I can beat a lot of those guys up there. So I want to move up the rankings. Whoever's in the top 15, I want a guy right around 15, 14, 13. That's what I came for. I came for the belt, and I'm only going to get better. So
Covington would suffer his first defeat at UFC 194 against Warlley Alves. Chaos would bounce back with a win at UFC Fight Night 89, McDonald vs. Thompson, where he would finish Canadian Jonathan Meunier by third-round submission. July 12, 2015, The Ultimate Fighter 21 finale, Las Vegas, Nevada. After accumulating a 5-1 record outside of the UFC and 2 consecutive decision victories on the reality show, The Ultimate Fighter, Kamaru Usman makes his official UFC debut against Haider Hassan in the show finale.
Obviously, you know, people were watching. If you watch The Ultimate Fighter, you know that a lot of people on your team did not want you to be the one to represent you guys in the last fight. So how have you processed that? What kind of adjustments have you made, you know, since the show in preparation? We all know that Haider's got that big punching power. So what adjustments have you made? And sort of what are you feeling knowing that you weren't the guy that everybody necessarily wanted?
At the end of the day, just kind of assessing it. Initially, it's a bit hard to take in, but I mean, all through life, my dad's always taught me people are gonna doubt you, some people aren't gonna believe in you. It's how you believe in yourself. And I've proven it going out. I believe in myself, and in every stage of my career, whether it's from wrestling to getting to this point, I believe in myself, and I go out there and I give it my all. And that's brought me this far. And as far as punching power, damn near everybody has punching power. If you look at the welterweight division, everybody has punching power. That means absolutely nothing. I've been hit before. In our sparring session and practice, each and every one is a pay-per-view event. So that's gonna mean nothing to me. I'm gonna go out there and implement my game and do what I do. And break is not a word he should ever associate with me, because that's not something I do. I'm a wrestler at heart, 100% wrestler, and I do the breaking.
Usman defeats Hassan by arm triangle choke early in round 2.
My thought process was to go out there and just do what I do and focus on the fight. I wasn't worried about the contract or the win or the money or things like that. That was just an added bonus. If I went out there and performed the way that I'm capable of performing, I knew everything else would follow suit. And so, you know, that was just my main focus, was to go out there and do what I do best.
That said, getting the confirmation that you're in the UFC officially, was that a huge moment for you?
Yeah, that definitely feels better. Feels good.
Give me a grade for this season of The Ultimate Fighter. Dana White told me afterwards he's done doing team versus team. Are you surprised by that? And also give me that grade.
Not surprised. I think that there was high hopes for this season because there was that great rivalry between the two teams, but it just seemed a little flat. And I got to be honest, I really didn't watch a good portion of the season. I kind of gave up.
How dare you?
Kind of gave up on it a little bit, and I caught up, you know, with it again at the end, and there were some good fights at the end. But yeah, I don't know. There just wasn't really a big buzz, and I think it was one of the least successful in terms of ratings seasons ever. So I don't know. I think that when we look back, though, I think that Usman is a guy that I think one of the guys that we'll look at and say, hey, this season at least produced someone who could be very good. And he didn't have the greatest run on the show, but I think that he is a legitimate prospect at 170. His wrestling is excellent, is fantastic. His transition wrestling that he showed tonight was great. And he's developed some striking. I was talking to Rumble Johnson about him. He said that he's really doing a nice job on his striking too. So I think that at least we can look to a prospect coming out of that season, which is really kind of a lackluster, season in general.
December 19th, 2015. UFC on Fox 17, Dos Anjos vs. Cowboy 2, Orlando, Florida. Usman returns to the cage to face rising UK prospect Leon Edwards. Kamaru Usman wins by decision.
I've said it, I've said it to myself countless times, day in and day out, and I'm gonna say it to everyone, before I'm said and done, I will be king of this division one day. And, unfortunately, my performance tonight didn't show it, but when I come back in here next time, it'll be way better, way more dominant, and you can count on seeing finishes from me because one day I will be king of this division.
July 23rd, 2016. UFC on Fox 20, Holm vs. Shevchenko, Chicago, Illinois. Kamaru Usman is back in the cage against Russian fighter Alexander Yakovlev. Usman defeats Yakovlev by decision and climbs to 8-1 as a professional.
I wanted to go out there and really be exciting and get that finish on my feet, but being exciting, you go out there and you get clipped and you lose the fight, you go home with one check. And so, I want to be exciting, but I come to win every single time. And so winning is the most important thing. If you're losing, you can be the most exciting guy in the world. If you're losing, you're not going to stick around for very much longer. I can keep winning all the way to the bank, and I'm going to keep winning and racking up those checks. And those finishes will come.
Usman would follow that victory up with another decision victory over Brazilian brawler Warley Alves at UFC Fight Night 100, Bader vs. Nogueira 2 in Sao Paulo.
I have stand-up, but when you could just dominate guys by not taking any damage, isn't that what we want to do? You want to take a guy down and beat him up and not take any damage. And so when you're capable of doing that and no one was able to stop me from doing that, I kept doing that. But that doesn't mean I don't have stand-up. I have very, very good stand-up, which I showed in my last fight. At the end of the day, it's I'm not going to be fake. I'm not a fake person who's going to create something just for the cameras. If the promotion is willing to invest and look deep enough into me, they will see that definitely I'm someone who's marketable. I come from humble beginnings. I was a kid from the streets of Nigeria, to where now I'm living a dream that, there's millions of kids that are back home in Nigeria, in Cameroon, or all the African countries, never dream of, we wake up hoping we can get fresh water, walk 10 miles to go get fresh water. You never dream that you're gonna be in a country like this, on a stage like this. And so that's something that me and, a friend of mine, Francis, are doing. We're inspiring the masses all over the continent.
August 20th, 2016, UFC 202, Diaz vs. McGregor 2, Las Vegas, Nevada. Covington is set to face Max Griffin on the prelims of the blockbuster UFC 202 pay-per-view. Covington finishes Griffin in the third via ground and pound.
After the win, it seemed like you were speaking to someone quite animated fashion. Who were you talking to and what were you saying?
I was talking to Cameron Haynes. He's one of my buddies, Joe Rogan's buddy. He's an avid bow hunter. He's one of my good friends from the same hometown that I'm from, Springfield, Thurston, Oregon. So, after I lost last time, he came out to watch me, and it was my first professional loss. I just told him, hey, man, this is what I can do when I'm not hurt. I showed up, I was broke. I had to show up for that fight against Warley Alves with a fractured rib because I was broke. I had debt, I had to pay bills, so I had to show up and get my show money, But I let him know this is what I can do when I'm healthy, and I'm gonna keep bringing good things to our hometown name like he does.
And you mentioned being broke before the Alves fight. How are you now financially?
I'm not comfortable, but I'm in a better position. I just fought in UFC Canada, and I got a spinning back fist to a submission finish. So, I still have to pay taxes, and I still have a lot of college debt, but, I'm working. This helped out a lot, and I just want to stay active, and that's why I want to get back on UFC Portland.
Do you regret taking that fight now in hindsight because you were so injured?
Extremely regret it, My coaches thought that, I took the cortisone shots and I thought that we could do it, but we didn't train. We didn't even warm up backstage. We just walked out to the fight, and we just thought that, we thought that with my heart we were going to win because I've been through fights where I broke my hand and I won the fight, So, you know, that's just being stubborn, and I've learned a very tough lesson, but it's only going to help me going forward. I really did get a fire lit under my ass.
December 17th, 2016, UFC on Fox 22, Van Zandt versus Watterson, Sacramento, California. Covington is booked against durable welterweight Bryan Barberena. Covington wins by decision.
You know, I had to sacrifice the last 4 weeks of my camp. I didn't get to train. I had a little injury, so I couldn't train the last 4 weeks of camp. So I pretty much just sat on the sidelines, did some swimming. That was it. That was about it, and showed up here tonight. So, you know, you probably saw a quarter of my potential. I know I'm a lot better than that. You're going to see a lot better from me in the future.
What was the injury?
I had a little MCL tear, so, you know, so we'll get back in there, and I'm only going to step in here if I'm healthy. I already gave up one loss with a fractured rib, and, you know, I'm not doing this no more. I'm going to come here healthy, and I know I'm going to get that belt.
How much do those cost, PRP injections?
The PRP injection was $600. The ozone injection was $600. So I spent $1,200 out of my pocket just to get here tonight. And along with the rehab and the doctor's visits I had to go, that's going to come out of my pocket too. So they had to do the ultrasound, all that stuff to make sure that I could fight tonight. You know, I don't think I fought how I know how to fight, but, you know, I still came in here and got a fight when you didn't see me at 100%. You didn't see me at my best tonight. You saw me probably at 60 or 70%. So there's definitely something to take away from it, and I definitely gained a lot of experience tonight. I trained with Robbie Lawler. He's one of my main training partners, my sparring partners. Jorge Masvidal, my best friend. I train with him a lot, so I know what my skills are. I get to train with the best guys in the world at American Top Team. I'm just thankful for those guys.
Chaos would go on to defeat top-ranked Dong Hyun Kim by decision at UFC Fight Night 111, Holm versus Correia, moving his record to 12 wins and 1 loss. April 8th, 2017, UFC 210, Cormier versus Johnson 2, Buffalo, New York. Kamaru Usman returns to face the 18-1 Sean Strickland on the prelims.
Moving along now, here you see Kamaru Usman. He meets Sean Strickland tomorrow night. They call him the Nigerian Nightmare. Fights, of course, out of Boca Raton, Florida. We met him on The Ultimate Fighter when it was the Black Zillions versus American Top Team. And how much has changed since then? Usman weighing in with the socks. Classic veteran move. 170.2. 170.2 for the Nigerian Nightmare. 170.2 for the man wearing the socks. Why get those toes cold?
Usman wins by decision.
According to Fight Metric, you're the first welterweight since 2007 to win your first 5 fights in the welterweight division. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I don't really keep up with a lot of those stats. You know, I just do my job as a fighter, go out there and try to rack up the wins and entertain fans.
Obviously, though, that speaks to your success as of late. Do you feel like now it's time? I mean, you've done a really good job of calling out top dogs, but you haven't gotten that big fight just yet. Do you feel like now you will finally get it?
Yeah, you know, as a fighter, you know, and now, you know, I came in as a, you know, I don't do this because there's nothing else for me to do. You know, I do this because I choose to do this. You know, I love the competition. This is another way for me to compete and really show, you know, what I put into it. You know, I chose this, and so I'm putting everything into it. And so, you know, when I came in, of course, I want to be successful. I want to win my fights. You know, but I've started to understand the entertainment aspect of it. You know, these are fans that are paying money to come out there and watch us. And a lot of these fans don't know the intricacy of MMA, don't know the technical aspect to jiu-jitsu or wrestling. You know, a lot of them, you know, kind of want to see a fight. And so you have to entertain, and I'm just starting to understand more and more of that. And so I want to put on a show more and more for them. But I'm not, of course, I'm not going to forget, you know, my skills that I work on each and every day.
Usman would go on to get his first UFC knockout over Sergio Moraes at UFC Fight Night 116, Rockhold versus Branch. Usman would face Emil Meek next at UFC Fight Night 124, Stevens versus Choi in St. Louis, Missouri.
Like, let's be honest, you know, look at the fight. Like, what about Meek scares me that it's like, oh, don't fight this guy. No, does he have big power? Like, will he? No. Can he out-wrestle me? No. Can he out-grapple me? No. Like, this was a oh, just stay busy. Here's a fight because no one else will fight you here, you know. But, you know, he's kind of trying to make it seem like, oh, you're trying to duck me. What do I have to duck? I'm asking for harder guys. Why? How is that me ducking you? Like, it makes no sense.
What do you make of Colby saying no?
It's one of those things that it's rough because he's one of the guys that's been saying, oh, you know, I've been ducking him. Specifically saying I've been ducking him when that fight is never offered. But now the fight's being offered and he's saying, no. Blatantly, 3 different occasions he said no. You know, so, you know, I can't understand why he wouldn't take the fight. I mean, well, in a sense, I can. He thinks he's next in line for a title shot, which it's clear they're not giving you a title shot. So, hey, take the fight. At least prove to the people that you are the best. You're next in line for the shot. But
Usman wins by decision.
I'm a wrestler. Don't get it wrong. I can stand up and strike. You've seen it. Just because of my last fight, because I had to do what I had to do to win, because I was dealing with some pretty serious injuries, people are forgetting that the fight before, I let a jiu-jitsu expert up. I knocked him down and I let him get back up just so I could knock him out eventually. The fight before that, I fought Sean Strickland, a very, very tough and talented striker. I think his record is like 19 or 20-1 or 2. And I still kept him standing and beat him up, shut him down the whole time. The fight before that, I fought a very dangerous Warley Alves, kept the fight standing the whole time and beat him up. Just because of that one performance, people are kind of trying to downplay everything that I've accomplished, that I can't strike. I can strike with the best of them.
October 28th, 2017, UFC Fight Night 119, Machida versus Brunson, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Colby Covington is booked in his biggest match to date against perennial top-ranked Demian Maia in Sao Paulo.
Man, thanks for not having me here. This place is a dump. I'm ready to beat Demian Maia's ass and get the fuck out of here. Oh, you know, when I think of Brazil, I think of beautiful women with beautiful bodies, you know, and I haven't really seen that many of them. So, you know, Brazil's been a letdown. It's a disappointment, you know, a bunch of angry animals running around here telling me I'm going to die. So that's a joke in the first place. So fuck Brazil. It's been a great journey, you know, and it's going to cap off soon with the welterweight title around my belt. This is my division now, and I will be the king. Took 3 years in the organization to get to this point, and that's too long than I imagined. I imagined I'd be here in a year, but unfortunately I had a lot of injuries that slowed down my career. So, you know, now I'm healthy and I'm here where I am, and I'm ready to get what's mine. That's the welterweight title. You know, you got to do what you got to do to get the fans engaged, you know. Whether they hate me or they love me, they're still going to tune in to watch me. Some of the fans are going to tune in. They want to see me get knocked out. Some of them are on my side supporting me. At the end of the day, you will see who the new king is. I definitely don't like to cross a line with religion and with racism. You know, I'm not going to get into those things. I think those are two topics, touchy subjects, so I won't get into religion or race.
But you have, there does seem to be, like, lately, especially on social media, even, you know, the past couple of days with SBG and all, like, you have upped your trash talking game. Did you feel like you weren't getting noticed? Did you feel like, okay, something has to change here? I need to rattle things. I need to poke a few people. I need to pick some fights because for whatever reason, whatever I was doing before wasn't working. Because it seems like there's been a shift over the last few months.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I want to get people interacted. I want to get people engaged. I want people to watch me fight, you know. So if they want to see me get knocked out, if they want to see me get saluted, good. As long as they're watching me fight, that's all I care about. So, you know, I'm just speaking a lot of truth. A lot of things I'm saying, it's a lot of truth. You know, I'm not saying things that aren't true. So, you know, if I have to go on social media and be a little bit more vocal to get the big fights, that's what I'm willing to do. Yes, I do believe I will cut the line Saturday. You know, I think that Robbie Lawler, he wasn't competitive in the fight versus Woodley. So why redo that fight if he beats RDA? It doesn't really make sense. That fight didn't sell in the first place. And, you know, RDA, you know, the UFC knows that he was ducking me and he didn't want to fight me. So, you know, I think that I will duck the line. His wins haven't been impressive. And after this Saturday, the UFC will know that I am the uncrowned king of this division.
Are you worried about calling it a dump while you're there? I mean, you could be upsetting some of the locals. Does that concern you at all?
No, I don't think the locals are going to like me anyways once I beat Dad Bod Maya, you know? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Sao Paulo is a dump. That's a known fact. They fucked up bringing me down here, Ariel. I'm a problem. I'm sending their hero to hell. Shit, he might thank me. Hell's probably an upgrade from this place. Did I mention this place is a dump yet, Ariel?
Yeah, you did. You did. Do you feel like a win is not enough against Maya? Do you have to do something spectacular? You know, sometimes people say, oh, you know, it's not the most exciting fights. The Kim fight was kind of criticized as well. Do you have to put on a show here? Do you have to finish him? Do you have to do something out of the ordinary to really get people's attention? Are you thinking that way?
No, I'm not thinking that way. I'm just thinking about destroying Damian Maia and sending him to the retirement home. Luckily, we're in Sao Paulo, Brazil, so it won't be too far for him to get stretchered off to. But, I don't think I have to perform. I just have to do what I always do, and that's win. I'm a winner. I'm a proven winner. Look at my track record. So, I think when I finish Damian Maia, there'll be no clear evidence that I am the champ and I will get the next title shot.
First round finish. All you fans in Sao Paulo are going to think I'm going to put you here to rest. Vou parar ele no primeiro round. Depois vocês de São Paulo vão acabar com vocês.
Covington wins by decision. May 19th, 2018, UFC Fight Night 129, Maia versus Usman, Santiago, Chile. Riding a 7-fight win streak in the UFC, Kamaru Usman is booked in his first main event opposite top-ranked grappler Damian Maia. Usman wins the 5-round fight by decision.
I might not be the best striker. I might not be the best jiu-jitsu guy. I might not be the best wrestler. But when you put it all together, I'm a bad motherfucker to deal with. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a bad motherfucker to deal with. I don't care. Somebody might hit harder than me. Somebody might, grapple better than me or have better jiu-jitsu. But when you mix it all together, mixed martial arts, I am a bad motherfucker to deal with. And I've been quiet for too long. And some people might say, oh, or he's cocky no, I'm not cocky. I'm confident in my abilities because I know I've put the time in to build that skill.
June 9th, 2018, UFC 225, Whitaker versus Romero 2, Chicago, Illinois. Colby Covington is set to face Rafael dos Anjos for the interim UFC 170-pound championship.
Does it bother you that Colby is fighting for a belt, interim or not? Does this kind of annoy you? Especially when Woodley declared, I'm ready to go. August is good for me, but it seems like a month or two away from when he could fight.
It's a little annoying, but
yeah, I'm the king of Brazil. I owe it to the Brazilian fans to go back there and put on a show for them. The thing is that Brazil wasn't ready for me, so Dana had to put it in the U.S.
Shut your bitch ass up. You wasn't tough backstage.
Yo, you got 30%. You put 100% of the fans to sleep, motherfucker.
Hey, all I need is 30% for you. You could bring your mom, your cousin, Jesus. And even that might give you a 30% chance to beat me.
Well, there's a reason you're at the little kids table, scrub. Get used to it, Junior.
But you wouldn't respond back on Twitter now, huh? And backstage, you wasn't acting tough, were you?
No one cares about you, man.
Oh, you wasn't acting tough backstage.
Come talk to me, Junior.
That's what I thought, you Twitter thug. Everybody be quiet. He might call the cops. He don't deserve a title shot. Besides Damian Maia, who else? Nobody. And when I asked to fight him, he doesn't want to fight me.
Keep using your time to promote me. That's why you're a mark, bitch.
Yo, you want to talk? You talk
Junior,
trash
settle
on
down,
Twitter.
Junior.
See, we lived.
You ain't ready for prime time yet, son.
We lived.
You ain't ready for prime time. That's why you on digital cable, boy. I'm on pay-per-view. Sit your ass down, Junior.
We live 20 miles apart. We live 20 miles apart and we have mutual friends. If it's beef, we can do it.
And no one gives a fuck about you. Dana White,
all day.
No one cares about you. You're a nobody. Get a rank win, then come holler at me when you get a rank win.
You do. Hey, you weren't talking all this trash backstage just now, were you? You acting real tough out here in front of the media. Everybody know you fake. If it's beef, we can do it. We live 20 miles apart. 20 miles apart. And we got mutual friends. We can meet right when we get back. It's not a problem. See, don't talk big out here in front of all these people. You know you're not about that life. You know that. If you was about that life, you would have hollered at me backstage just now. You're not about that life. Talk tough up here, but you know I will finish you.
Yo, you ain't finished one fight, dog. You're a nobody. You just got dropped your last fight by a nobody. Like, the guy's not even ranked and he's dropping your ass. You had to wrestle hump and fucking bore all these fans. That's why you're not on pay-per-view yet. You're a nobody.
Okay,
Stick
but
with digital cable, Junior.
But I beat the shit out of the guy that nearly took your life in the first round,
The guy that choked your ass out, that got knocked out.
Nearly took your life.
You got choked out by Jose.
Y'all see that kind of tap that he did? That
You're
was a
nobody.
fight for dear life because he was
No one
about to
cares
die
about
in
you.
there.
Scammeroo, no one cares about you. You're a junior.
Oh, really? You can holler at me backstage after this, too. Let's find out.
You wish you had what I had, boy. I got zeros next to my bank account. You ain't got nothing. You fighting on the prelim still.
My next question.
You know, it's kind of a no-brainer here that but he talked himself into it. I don't care. I'm no hater. If it's fate, we will meet one day. And we saw how that confrontation looks when he actually has to be face-to-face with me.
What do you mean? When did we see it?
We saw that in Brooklyn. You saw the clips. You saw the clips. And that's not me. I wasn't trying to do that. That's not set up or anything like that. It's just there's one, I like everybody in mixed martial arts. I love the game. I love the sport. But there's just one guy. You put us in the room next to each other, my blood pressure goes up.
Wow.
My heart rate goes up. I don't know what it is. My heart rate just goes up. I will say that he's done a good job of getting recognition.
Right.
I mean, obviously it's probably the wrong recognition that to where if you lose, like, you're pretty much almost done. You know,
because of all that smack.
Because of all that smack, that's a systematic. It's an art to be able to do that. And the only guy that I've seen being able to do that is Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen has kind of been the only guy that would talk a bunch of shit, go out there and get his ass whooped, but then talk shit again next week. You're like, oh man, this guy could do it. This guy could win this fight.
Yeah.
You know, but this guy, come on, it's so corny and so far-fetched. It's just the day and age that we live now to where you actually still pay attention to it. So he's done a good job of actually getting himself noticed, but you know, when you're lacking those skills to actually back it up, it's gonna bite you in the ass one day.
Why are you getting an interim welterweight title fight? What was the, because Tyron has said he's coming back in July, and this has obviously upset a lot of people, including your fellow welterweights. Why do you think they're doing this so close to when he's able to return?
Ariel, if you go back and look at the first time we talked on the show, I told you exactly what was gonna happen. I said as soon as I beat Damian Maia, it was going to be title fights and champagne on U.S. soil. I'm a man of my word, Ariel. We talked about this the first time, just like I talked about the first time on the show. I said I was going to take the interim belt and then I was going to have to bitch slap Woodley with the interim belt. He got offered to fight me in December and he turned that fight down in Vegas. You know, he's saying that he wanted to come back in July, but that's not truthful, honest. That's fake, Ariel. If you think you hate me now, go watch a clip of him on the Breakfast Club trying to rap. That guy's fucking fake. He's a joke. He's doing anything but come back and fight because he knows who the real king of the welterweight division is. It's Colby Chaos Covington.
What was going on between you and Kamaru? I have to admit, at the end of that press conference, I wanted to see that fight more than the RDA fight. That was great stuff back and forth between you two.
I mean, he's just a thirsty hoe sweating me. You know, he's there to promote his fight, Ariel, and he's marking out and he's just promoting me. He's giving his time to talk about me. So, you know, he's talking about us being 20 miles apart. We're 20 miles apart in the rankings and 20 miles apart in skill level. I mean, the guy's JV in everything he does. You know, I mean, he's a complete joke. His mom dressed him up in bed sheets for the press conference. I mean, that's a joke. And then backstage, oh, hey, he gets his buddy. Hey, turn on the camera real quick. We're gonna get a little beef with Colby. And this is right before the UFC tells me, they're like, hey, Colby, you got to be cool. You know, all this Conor McGregor incident, like, you have to keep your cool. I know you're the supervillain and everybody hates you, but you have to be on your best behavior. So Cameron obviously knows, you know, I'm not going to do anything, and he's just barking up the tree. I'm looking at my phone, finding out that I'm fighting on UFC Chicago for the interim belt, and he's jawing his mouth. I'm not even paying attention to the little scrub. He's at the bottom of the mountain. I'm at the top of the mountain. He's at the kids' table. I'm at the big boys' table. So I'm not frankly worried about Kamaru Usman. He's got another fight with one of my washouts from American Top Team. He's on Fight Pass in Chile. If he wants these hands are worth Bugattis. You're only going to get these hands on pay-per-view, so I don't know why he's trying to get these hands. He's acting like a street thug. We're professional fighters. Like, if he's so hard, come do something to me. Put a hand on me. Find out what happens when you put a hand on me. You can come cheap shot me just like Fabricio Werdum did in Australia.
So did it get heated at all backstage?
I mean, I wouldn't say it got heated. You know, he's just water under the bridge. You know, he's a soft little snowflake. You know what I do to snowflakes, Ariel? I burn these snowflakes.
I'm actually not familiar with what you do to snowflakes, but how would you burn a snowflake? I don't know if that's even I mean, I guess it would just burn, but I wouldn't even burn. Would it burn? It would just melt. the snowflake would melt, right? You win this belt, you'd like to go see the president in Washington and have a photo op with him.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a complete joke. The Philadelphia Eagles suck. The Golden State Warriors, they suck. I mean, what a joke. You know, you live in America, you're fed by silver spoons. You guys are a complete joke to American society. Yeah, you guys want to express your First Amendment and free speech, but, you know, you stand for this flag. You stand for the troops, the women and men that were brave and put their lives on the line so you guys could have your freedoms today. So I definitely want to bring the belt to the White House and see Trump.
Your promoter, Dana White, he has a good relationship with Mr. Trump, right? He spoke at the convention on his behalf. Have you pitched this idea to him? Maybe he could call him up probably. He has him on his cell phone.
Yeah, that's the plan. After Saturday night, I'm going to have a talk with Mr. Dana White, and I'm going to tell him to bring me to the office. I want to go say some words to the greatest living American, the leader of the free world.
Tomorrow night, I'm getting 10 pounds of gold, and then I'm bringing it to I'm bringing it to Donald Trump like a real champion should. The Eagles and the Golden State Warriors play with balls. I let my balls hang out. Tomorrow night, I'm going to let my balls hang on this filthy animal's face, live on pay-per-view. Don't miss it. Let's go!
Colby Covington, ladies and gentlemen.
Covington wins by decision and is the new interim UFC champion.
I did everything I said I was going to do. I told everybody I was going to make the welterweight division great again, and now I'm going to celebrate how a real American should celebrate winning a world title, and that's going to the White House to see Mr. Donald Trump put this on his desk, unlike the Philadelphia Eagles disrespecting our country's flag by kneeling for the national anthem.
I understand your fervent support of Trump and of the anthem, but are you aware that none of the Eagles ever kneeled?
I'm not aware of that, but what did they do? Didn't they not come out for the national anthem? They stayed in the tunnel or something?
No, that hasn't gone into effect yet. The most is one of the players raised his fist and one of his white teammates put his hand on the shoulder.
Well, I am aware that they, turned down their invitation to go see Trump, and that's a big slap in the face to America. I mean, there's all the brave men and women of America that put their lives on the line so they could have their freedoms to eat out of their silver spoons. They've been, the NFL players get so much leeway and so much money for, such a joke. So, it's a joke that they turned down America. They wouldn't have their freedoms. Try going to Puerto Rico. Let's see how well they would do over there if they would make that kind of money. So, it's a big slap in the face and disrespectful to America to turn down Trump's invitation.
Well, understand that, what they're saying is they're doing it for social justice, for minorities to be treated equally. And what do you say on that front? Because a lot of times people don't raise this issue with other athletes that take issue with it.
Last time I checked, they weren't paid all that money to be political people. They were paid to play football. So I got to say, if I see them in the streets, I'm probably going to slap them.
I'm living the American dream, Helwani. The kid from Oregon setting goals and crushing them, just like President Trump.
What have you been doing with the belt? Have you been parading around? You're still in Chicago, right? Have you been parading around Chicago with it?
I haven't been parading around. I said before the fight what I came here to do. I came to beat up a Brazilian geek, and then I was going to bang some Midwest freaks. So, I had a late night in the bedroom last night with the belt. We were taking turns having a threesome and spanking the girls' asses. One girl wanted to wear the belt. So we've been putting the belt to all kinds of good uses.
Are you a fan of Donald Trump as a person, or is it just because he's the president and you believe I got to respect the president? That's how I was brought up.
No, I was always a big fan of Donald Trump, even before he was president, just his business tactics, his bargaining skills, and just the person he is, man. He's a very respectable guy. And now that he's the great leader of the free nation, I have so much respect for him, and it would be a true honor to put this gold belt on his desk like a real American world champion should.
Less than a month after his victory, Covington would be the first UFC champion ever to visit the president at the White House. However, the UFC would strip Covington's title when he was unable to face the champion Tyron Woodley at UFC 228. So in September of 2018, Covington's interim title run would last less than 3 months. After Covington is stripped, Kamaru Usman is booked in another main event, this time against former lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos at the Ultimate Fighter 28 finale.
You mentioned potentially fighting Till or Woodley, it'll be business, it'll be competition. Is the same? Do you feel the same way for Colby? Is that something different?
No, that's more than business. That's good business after I personally beat his ass. That one's a little added bonus. There's not one guy in the UFC that I can say that I have negative feelings towards except Colby Covington. I truly want to put my hands through his face. That's a guy that the world will be watching as well. I mean, there's not a day that goes by that I don't get a message, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, saying, man, I can't wait for you to kill Colby Covington.
Usman wins by decision. March 2nd, 2019, UFC 235, Jones versus Smith, Las Vegas, Nevada. Kamaru Usman is booked against the champion Tyron Woodley as the co-main event for UFC 235.
From your perspective, how did this finally come together for you against Woodley?
If you guys realize, if you guys notice, I've said this. I put out a bout agreement a long time ago. I've said this fight.
It was real.
Yeah, this was real. I wasn't joking. I said this fight was gonna happen. You know, it was kind of one of those situations where their fight should have been happening. You know, Colby should have been fought. He should have already fought Tyron Woodley a while ago. Took his ass whooping then, but. You know, unfortunately, these guys kept playing games. No, I'm not ready. I'm ready. I'm not ready. So, you know, with all those games, this time's not gonna wait for you guys. Everything keeps rolling. This is a well-oiled machine. It keeps on going. And so these guys kept playing games, and I'm right there, like, hey, I'm ready. And so the company said, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna go with the guy that is ready. And not just that. I mean, it's time for you to see the new champion. It's time for you to, you know, it's not just. I don't just come. You know, like everyone else. I come not just with a country, I come with a continent. And it's time for us to expose this sport to that continent. And when we do, I mean, you only have maybe five Africans right now in the UFC. Imagine when we expose that continent to this sport. I mean, this sport is just gonna blow up so big and so amazingly that to where I believe the company is like, you know what, it's time for us to take a chance and open this up. So, which is why I'm here today.
I ain't backing up. You hit me, I'm still coming. And I'm coming all night long, T Wood. Please don't back up.
Brother.
Don't back up,
Brother.
my man. Don't back
Brother.
up.
Bruh.
Marty,
I'm your mentor.
Hey, listen.
You talking back to your mentor right now.
When you hear and new, you know, you're going to feel real special when you're walking backstage.
You don't even believe that yourself. Like, you want to be so cool. You want to sound like LL Cool J. You don't even believe it yourself.
I don't believe it.
You don't even believe it yourself.
You believe it, though. Hey, you believe it. You've been a good champion.
Oh, my God.
You've been a good champion, T.
Here come LL Cool J.
You've been a good champion, T. Thank you, T.
You know what
You've been a good champion.
Let me get my chapter.
You've been a good champion. You know what? This is one thing. This is one thing I want to tell everybody.
You've been a good champion.
You know what?
Who was that? What?
Oh, who was that?
What?
Who was that? I'm gonna tell you, you've been a good champion.
I want you to tell me how you're gonna do it, though. That's what I want you to provide me.
All right, let's get another question, you two. Let's get another question.
All right, man. Let's figure out what happened here. How did it come to be that Tyron Woodley is fighting at UFC 235 against Kamaru Usman when you came on this show, I think just a few weeks ago, and told us you were ready to go at 235? What happened, man?
Shit, man, I'm still trying to put the pieces together and figure out why it happened, but you know, I think there's some things going behind the scenes that people don't know about yet. So I guess, you know, some managers have a little bit more pull than other managers, and you know, UFC wants to devalue their product. You know, I'm the #1 fighter in the world. I have a belt that got wrapped around my waist by Dana White. I was promised November for Madison Square Garden with Woodley. I was promised January in California with Woodley, which they ended up canceling the show for. And then all of a sudden, Woodley's healthy for March 2nd, and I'm getting passed up for a guy behind me. And I could understand if that guy behind me was like a bigger draw, maybe he does bigger numbers, but it's not even close. He doesn't even compare to me in terms of numbers. The guy's coming off eating my sloppy seconds, and the guy just beat two guys that are coming off losses. So the guys that shouldn't even deserve a title shot, but you know, if the UFC wants to dumb it up their fans and devalue their brand, so be it. They're going to burn their own flames.
Just to clarify, if they called you and said, we change our minds, can you fight at UFC 235? In terms of your health and your readiness, you could do that.
absolutely. I was ready to fight in January in California and fight Woodley then. I was ready to fight in November. You know, the only time I couldn't fight, Luke, is back in September in Dallas. But I couldn't fight because they offered me the fight on 6 weeks, and I was already getting nose surgery. I couldn't breathe out of my nose. I had mucus, blood draining down my nose into my lungs. I mean, I was at literally 30%. I was fighting RDA, not even at my full potential. So all I did is ask for an extra 2 months instead of 6 weeks because they backed themselves in a corner in a matchmaking hole. And you know, now they're trying to hold this against me. But I find it funny because, you know, Dana White's tone, he changed his tone real quick. He was like, he heard from the UFC doctors, you know, Colby's not cleared. He can't fight in September in Dallas, you know, and then he changed his tone. He's like, after the Woodley-Till fight, he was like, okay, Colby's 100% fighting Woodley next. That's the next fight to make. And then all of a sudden, everything's changed. Now they're trying to hold it against me. Oh, Colby's not taking fights. That doesn't fly in the UFC, blah, blah, blah. But let's be honest, Dana, you don't got the balls to release me. If you're saying all this stuff to the media, then release me. But you ain't got the balls. All I care about is fighting. You know, I'm not here to fight for money either. I don't fight for money. Every time the UFC offers something, I just take it. I've never asked for more money. Not one time in my career. I fought Damian Maia for 30 grand. I mean, the #2 guy in the world, I was fighting for 30 grand. So I don't care about money. It's not about the money. I'm in this to be the best fighter in the world, put on entertaining shows, and to please the fans. That's what it's all about, is the fans, and they're shitting on all their fans. So, you know, it's just, it's sad. You know, they want to fool the people and think that they can pull this fast one on the people, but really they're just pulling a fast one on themselves.
So if they asked you to be on standby, make weight for that welterweight title fight, would you do it?
I'd say stand by on this, bitch. Sticking to my guns, Luke. Ain't fighting for anything less than a title. I already got a title, so, you know, I'm already the champ. I'm the biggest draw in the division. These two scrubs and jabronis that are going to be fighting in March, they're going to be calling my name. They only want to fight me. They know who the biggest paycheck in is and who's going to make them the most amount of money for a loss. So, you know, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere, Luke. I'm just getting started. This is, if you think that I've reached my potential, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm still 30 years young and still getting better in martial arts every single day at American Top Team. My best is yet to come. I'm standing my guns. I'm not fighting for anything less than what I was promised and what I deserve. And that's a title shot.
You want to sub me in? Hey, fly back to Boca, sub me in. The real champ's here. The real champ. Yo, you boy, bro. You boy. Hey, show me that energy. Show me that energy. Let's see that energy. You ain't got no energy. That's right. You ain't got no energy. Have a dance off. Dance off. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. Enjoy getting knocked out Saturday night, scrub. You're still #2 in the world.
I thought it was a bum. Like, I looked over and it looked like a bum on the street that bought one of those little, you know, the little replica belts, and because he had the some hat on too, some little trucker hat. I was like, oh, is that a bum? Then I had to look closer and I saw it. There's a reason it's roped off and you're outside the ropes. You could have been inside. You're outside. So stay on the outside and keep making noise. That's I don't really care about that.
You feel like it was over the line for him to come try to maybe steal your spotlight a little?
No, that's what you expect for guys like that. You know, I don't care. If you know, after I'm done with Tyron Woodley, if he plays his cards right, he has to beg me now, because 5 times I've been offered that fight. I've accepted all 5. He's declined all 5. All you guys know that. He's declined it, so he has to beg me for that fight.
Co-main event, Tyron Woodley versus Kamaru Usman. Apparently the next contender for your interim title here.
Yeah. Most likely Tyquil Woodley is going to knock out Snoozman, but it could be a bore fest. So, you know, I had to come out here and please the fans because they might be disappointed tomorrow night.
Obviously, Colby, you wanted to meet your presence belt this week. You came to the open workouts, so of course you had a little shot with Dana White.
The real champ.
Why? Why did you do this week?
Why did I do this? Because the UFC promised that the real welterweight champ would be here this weekend, so I'm here as the real welterweight champ. This is the #1 contendership fight this weekend. That's all it is.
So you came in to make sure that your voice was heard, and that your presence was felt a little bit.
Dude, I'm the people's champ. I came among the people. There ain't none of these other fighters are coming out here hanging out with the people. I'm the people's champ, man. I'm putting it on the line for all these people, and someone's got to entertain them, man. All these freaking clowns in here, they're boring, man. They're supposed to put their opponents to sleep. They're putting the fans to sleep.
Usman defeats Woodley by decision and becomes the new UFC welterweight champion.
Kamaru Usman, with the performance of his career, not only beating Tyron Woodley, completely dominating him. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. He really controlled him in every facet of the game, won every round, won at least one round 10-8, if not multiple rounds 10-8. What is your take on this really magnificent performance put on by Usman?
I feel like we all slept on him a little bit. I mean, I think everybody I talked to was like, hey, he's a live dog. I don't think people would have been shocked if he won the fight, but to dominate it from horn to horn for 25 minutes and really just dictate the whole fight where it took place. Even in a couple of the exchanges, I thought he got the better of Woodley on those rare occasions where they broke out a little bit. I don't know what to say, man. I wouldn't have guessed in a million years that he would dominate the fight like that, where he's just suffocating Woodley, closing in, using the clinch, putting him against the fence, just making it a grimy affair where I felt like Woodley I felt like he came off his moorings early in that fight and he just never knew how to recover. I felt like he just kind of kept his guns holstered because it was just one of those big fight moments where he just didn't know what to do. But hats off to Usman, man, because that was the performance of his career. He didn't get the finish. Like, I thought, like, if he was going to win, maybe that would be the way to get him over. But I think he was so dominant. And they had the next challenger obviously right there in the front row.
And we will get to our friend Colby in a minute.
But just given all those factors, I feel like he did enough to kind of to set up his next fight and make him more formidable in that fight.
Nothing but respect for Tyron. I respect that man. I remember when he won the title, I was at his after party, and me and Rashad brought me in, and I got a chance to sit up there next to him, and we sat down. He was just chilling, and I sat next to him, and I whispered in his ear, and I asked him, and I said, "Hey, how do you feel now that you're champion? What's the difference?" And he told me, he said, "Nothing really. I still feel the same." And at that moment, I said, "You know what? I think I can do this. I can do it." I mean, Rashad has been pouring into me the whole time, telling me that I will be able to do this. And, you say it. I said that, I'm coming for that welterweight strap, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. I'm a math guy. Okay, that's the answer. This is the formula. Now we got to work out the problems in order to be able to get there. And, tonight was my night.
I'm sure you saw Colby Covington cage side. I mean, is that the right fight for you?
Can I curse up
rematch.
Here?
What's that?
Can I curse up here?
Of course you can.
I want to fuck that guy up so bad. I can't be in a room with that guy. I can't be in a room with him. It's like, I just can't. And, I can't wait to be healed up and really get to put my hands on him. You know what? That's one I'm going to enjoy, brutalizing him.
We all know Colby has avoided this fight for a long, long time. And you know what? Now it's time for you to do the appropriate work to make sure you deserve this fight. Because that's what he does. That's what he thrives on. He thinks that he's deserving of everything. He always puts it out there. I deserve this. This is what you owe me. This is what you owe. No, it's not about that. Now it's you're not in the driver's seat to make that decision. It's for the promotion. And it's for my team that are in that position to make that decision.
What happened at the Palms, Colby?
The Palms, it was just one of those things. I've said it before. You can't put me in a room with that guy and expect something not to pop off. I mean, it was just one of those situations to where, and you saw that all week. He was there all week to try to distract me, disrupt me, and he said, and you guys heard the chants the whole week. Oh. Actually, I think at my open workout, the one thing that I did hear from him while he was speaking through that whatever megaphone, whatever that, he was saying, "Oh, how does it feel to know that you're going to get knocked out tomorrow by Tyron Woodley? How does it feel that you're going to get knocked out?" So the whole time, he's trying to speak these things out as if I'm already going to lose. But listen, you showed your true colors. You were worried about me. Did you see him at the Woodley's open workout? You didn't crash his open workout and do that. You crashed mine because you were worried about me getting that belt.
You've avoided a fight with me for a long, long time. You knew that you didn't want this fight. But now I'm in a position to where you can't run from that fight anymore. Now you have to, as I've said, you have to beg me for that fight. I mean, yeah, I mean, for me, my whole base is you know, I'm an immigrant. You know, obviously my family immigrated here to give us the best possible opportunities in life, which is why a lot of immigrants immigrate here. And that kind of plays on the dynamic of this other guy who wants to fight me now is this guy feels very entitled. As you see him all the time, and especially now, his whole rant. Dana, you promised me this. Dana, I deserve this. Why'd you give me this interim belt if I wasn't gonna be next? And that's just kind of his mentality, how he's going about situations now. That's not who I am. We immigrated here to give me that opportunity, but I had to take that opportunity. I had to put my heart and soul into what I was gonna do in order to be at the pinnacle of it. And so I've put the hard work in, which is why I'm in the position that I am in now. And this guy, I feel like, is trying to divide us. He's trying to divide all humans. Oh, you guys are immigrants. You don't deserve this, or you don't deserve that. Oh, I deserve it before you. It doesn't work like that. When you put the hard work in, you see the results. And I think that's what, if that fight does come to fruition, that's what that fight is going to symbolize.
August 3rd, 2019, UFC on ESPN 5, Covington versus Lawler. Covington is booked in the main event opposite former welterweight champion Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, just making sure I'm not staying extra late up in the bedroom. You know, usually I like to stay up late and really work on my cardio late at night with all my ladies, but I got to make sure I'm really, you know, toning it down and getting to bed at a good time so I can wake up at a good time. Yeah, I mean, I got lucky today that these beautiful women arrived, you know. They stole the show, man. These people didn't come to see me. They came to see beautiful women. We all know sex sells. All right, boys. It's been fun, but I got to get out of here. I really got to go work on my cardio. Last cardio session before we beat Robbie Lawler and send him into retirement on Saturday night. Live on ESPN. Don't miss it, Snowflakes.
Covington would dominate Lawler over 5 rounds with his relentless wrestling and volume striking.
I've always known since I was a little kid that I just have an extra lung, and my will is unbeatable. There's not a man alive that can keep up with that cardio. You know, I build that cardio in the bedroom, and I keep it here in the UFC octagon. So, you know, it was amazing to have the first family front row. You know, they gave me extra motivation, being able to talk to Don Jr., talk to Eric Trump, talk to Kimberly Guilfoyle backstage before I went out. It just gave me that extra push to really go 5 hard rounds and be ready for anything Robbie Lawler threw at me. Yeah, security held Marty Fake Newsman back, so it looks like he's probably going to be out another year with an injury. So, you know, he's faking injuries, faking narratives. He don't want to fight me. So he saw what I did to a man tonight, Robbie Lawler. Kamaru Usman is nothing but a bitch. Yeah, it's the only fight to make. I mean, if they make any other fight, it's just a mockery to the sport. It's a mockery to the rankings. You know, if you hate Tom Brady, you know, it doesn't matter. If they win the AFC Championship, they're going to the Super Bowl. So I have one half of the belt. We need to unify this belt. And whether it be in New York, where Mr. President can come right down the road and see it with the first family again, or be in Vegas end of the year, these titles need to get unified. And he's got nowhere to run. He's got nowhere to hide. You know, none of that bullshit in a wheelchair, and then the next day he's jumping guardrails at the Palms trying to get in my face. So he can't fake injuries any longer.
How would you see yourself beating him?
Walking him right down. He'll be a first-round knockout, you know. Robbie's the most durable guy in our division. So, you know, that's a real man that I fought tonight, and one of the greatest fighters of all time. But he ran into the best welterweight of all time tonight.
December 14th, 2019. UFC 245. Usman versus Covington, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Nobody cares about you. Gas out in 3 rounds.
Listen,
Gassed out.
Bottom line is,
everybody knows you're on equal.
Everybody thought my last fight was going to be competitive.
$25,000 if you could pee in a cup right now and it passes.
Put your money up.
I will. I'll put it up right now.
Bring it out. Pull it up.
Put it up right now. 25 grand.
Is the money sitting in your private jet?
It is, buddy.
What do you make of this insinuation from Colby that, you know, you're on steroids, you can't, you know, piss in the cup clean, all that stuff?
They all say that, you know, with the way I'm beating guys, they all say that, but it is what it is. December 14th, there will be a beheading and everyone will see it and watch it live.
That's not a very good explanation, buddy. You sound like you're stuttering over there. You okay? Everybody knows the Black Zillions team is notorious for doing steroids. You know, Anthony Johnson, Rashad Evans, all the guys over there. Alistar Overeem when he was over there. You know, I have inside information that, you know, he was doing EPO for a couple years, and that's just that. That's a fact, you know. He has no good response. He can't even defend himself. So
I think it's pretty clear he's on steroids, but it's not going to make a difference because when I get my hands on him, he will melt.
Kamaru Usman will defend his welterweight title for the first time against Colby Covington as the main event for UFC 245 in Las Vegas, Nevada.